Don't believe, just know. Cymatic TV, turning vibration into reality. Hello and welcome to Cymatic TV with yours truly, Tom Lawless. And with me today is Silver Phoenix. So we're going to be continuing our journey in the astrological world. And today we're going to be talking about the finances of the world and seeing what's happening on that front. This might be on a personal level, but it's more going to be on a global level. And basically the future of humanity. So without further ado, hello, Silver Phoenix, how are you doing?
Oh, hello, Tom. Yeah, fine, thank you.
Excellent, excellent. You've had a good week over in the UK. It's been nice and warm, I hear.
The weather's lovely at the moment. It really is. It's a return to summer.
Excellent, having
No
a
complaints.
real lovely Indian summer.
Absolutely. How about you in France?
Yeah, similar sort of thing. Maybe
Yeah.
even a little bit too hot, to be honest.
Oh,
I think it's an Indian summer for Europe at the moment. There's no
yeah,
doubt about that, you know.
that's good. That's good.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about finances today. I've got my own particular bent on the finance world and money and etc. Can you just give us a brief explanation of how you recognise sort of money in astro readings and stuff like that? Is there any sort of
Yes,
particular?
we first start with the sign of Capricorn is the 10th sign and the business sign. And since 2008, when Pluto, as seen from Earth, went into the sign of Capricorn, and we had the so-called financial crash of 2008, that didn't go away, and it has been building. And it built and built until Saturn comes along and decides to go into Capricorn as well, and then decides to cozy up with Pluto for a long, long time. And then Jupiter comes along. Now, what this means on a personal level, everybody has a birth chart, everybody has 12 signs in that birth chart, everybody has Capricorn somewhere in their chart.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that because the aspects are difficult, we can all see what's happening financially around the world and personally, but it doesn't mean that everybody is going to be affected in the same way. This is what is so fascinating. At the moment, I know people who are doing extremely well financially. Their businesses are rushed off their feet, and others have been furloughed, and they're now thinking, well, hang on a minute, if my boss doesn't want me to return back to work, where do I go from here?
Mm.
Now, this ties in with everything else, because as you know, nothing is separated on its own. You
All
can't
is
exclude.
connected.
It is, absolutely. So whatever the financial system, however you are financially at the moment, that will apply to your village, your town, your city, your country, and the planet. And the planet is going through a lot of financial readjustment, which I believe astrologically will lead to a breakdown in the banking system,
Mm-hmm.
and money as we know it will probably change into cryptocurrencies.
So we're
This is
moving on to the electrical currency. Is this all to do with, is this why, is this the pressures of Jupiter or Pluto, Jupiter and Saturn mixing together
yes.
in the sign of Capricorn?
Pluto breaks things up, especially things that are so rigid. The more rigid a system is, a country is, the more it will be broken up. Saturn comes along with a strict taskmaster and says, hang on a minute, we haven't gone quite far enough here, let's do a bit more. And so things change on a personal level as well. And Jupiter comes along and says, well, all is not lost because you should be looking to the future. We're in the 21st century now, and the prospects for the 21st century, Tom, are fantastic, but only for those who are able and willing to move with the times. If people look back all the time and try to hang on to what they've got, then they're going to have problems.
Well, this is one of the questions I wanted to ask you about cryptocurrency and electrical currency and stuff like that. You know, there's been a lot of talk about it for a long time, what with Bitcoin and everything like that. The question that everyone seems to be asking is this a good thing or not? Is it going to mean that there's a lot more control over people because everything will become electrical? And there's a lot of concern about about moving into electrical currency, which I can understand. But then also I can understand the idea that it's good to move on and make it absolutely crystal clear for everything.
Yeah, this will happen, Tom, but
Hmm.
I cannot give you a date, a time,
Okay.
because it all depends. It's almost like dominoes. One thing has to go before the
Right.
next thing can come in. A wall has to be broken down before you can go through. The door has to be opened. The door at the moment is ajar. It's not fully open. So
Right.
we're not able to give up the systems we've got, and we're not able to move into these other cryptocurrencies. But I think cryptocurrencies would take the power away from the banks,
Right.
and that's
Okay.
what the banks do not like. So
Okay.
money as we know it is not going to disappear anytime soon. If we look at a 20-year time scale between now and 2040, lots of things will happen, but they have to happen in the right sequence. You
Okay.
can't, supposing you had a 5-year-old who wanted to be a brain surgeon, they say, oh, great, here you are, here's an operating theatre, here are the tools, go ahead. No, you can't, because they haven't gone that further step to learn how
Right.
to do it. And this is how we are at the moment. We're at the 5-year-old stage, knowing we have to, what we want to go into, but we aren't able to access it because the correct steps have not been taken. Astrologically, the steps are there. We have a very big step at the end of this year.
Right.
And it'll be very interesting because this is to do also with health. And we have an eclipse coming up, eclipse season at the end of the year. And also, Saturn and Jupiter both change signs within a few days of each other in December.
So Saturn and Jupiter move out of Capricorn
They
in.
do, and they move out. Yes, they do, and they actually move out into the sign of Aquarius.
Hmm.
Now, as you know, Aquarius is a humanitarian sign.
Mm.
You can see what's building at the moment with people power, and this is people power really truly coming into its own.
Yeah.
Because Saturn and Saturn goes into the sign of Aquarius on the 18th of December,
Right.
and 2 days later, Jupiter goes in there as well. And
Okay.
neither of them retrograde back into Capricorn. So what we're going to see is people power being totally fed up with officials telling them what to do in the form of governments, and people will want to take back into their own hands because Saturn and Jupiter will be conjunct in the sign of Aquarius, the humanitarian sign. People will be suddenly waking up to the fact that there are people ruling them, and their own agenda is for them to have more power, more money, more of
Mm.
everything.
Mm.
And the majority of people have less power, less money, and less of everything.
So, what is there anything in the stars that sort of tell us what needs to be set up for this to be happening? I'll tell you why. Simply because that if we moved into electrical currency, obviously, um, you know, the person selling fruit and veg at the local market is not adapted for that at the moment. And it would
That
surely would only benefit, these are the sort of questions that are floating about the internet,
Yes, but
this
Tom,
would surely only benefit people like Amazon and people like that and big supermarkets.
yeah,
Do we have to embrace that? Is that a good idea
no,
to embrace that?
because
Or
the planet Uranus is in the sign of Taurus,
right?
right? So it's in the first few degrees before. But it's about what the interesting thing is that when Saturn and Jupiter go into the sign of Aquarius,
Mm-hmm.
they're then going to be square Uranus, and that's when we're going to see a lot of things will begin to change, and you won't be able to go back to them. I can actually give you some dates.
Right.
One date to look for is about the 14th of January, and that is
Okay.
when Jupiter is square to Uranus. That will externalize on different levels, Tom. It'll be planetary, so you can expect adverse weather conditions.
Right.
It'll be financial and property, because
Mm-hmm.
Uranus is in Taurus, property and business. Also, when Saturn is obviously moves a lot more slowly, so Saturn's time to be square Uranus is in February, roughly about the 7th of February. So January, February, you will really be able to see, and people should be waking up to the fact that things cannot go back to as the situation they're in. You mentioned the fruit and veg man. Well, I know, Tom, and I know this from astrological with Uranus, where it is, and breaking up everything to do with agriculture. The life that we're meant to be living, Tom, actually, it will be fantastic. You get up in the morning, you'll have your biodomes. These will be where you have, like an Eden project in the UK, where you have artificial domes. They are heated with ground source heat pumps, and that means you'll be growing fruit and veg, tropical fruit and veg, in the UK or anywhere.
Well, if we believe global warming, we probably won't need that in the UK.
No, but global warming is going to, the effect it's having, Tom, on the temperature is not going to make temperatures hot enough that you can grow fruit, tropical stuff in the UK. With this, you'll be able to, because we'll be moving away from traditional farming. With Uranus being in Taurus here, to me, that is fewer animals being slaughtered for humans to eat.
Okay.
That means we'll have new ways of eating vegetable.
Moving on to on a vegan-based sort of diet, which is
I think it will. That's my own personal read of what's happening astrologically, Tom.
I'm going that way as well. I used to be a vegetarian myself, and then I moved to France, and it was very difficult to be a vegetarian in France. And I immersed myself into the local culture of the peasant culture of farming, etc. And obviously they grow their own livestock, or they breed their own livestock. They slaughter their own livestock, and then they make pate and stuff like that. And you can't, it's done with such pure beauty of nature itself in a way.
Now that won't change, Tom. I don't mean that sort of thing would change. It's the factory farming, the commercial farming.
Oh, well, that's a good thing. I think that's that'll help people to get more involved in agriculture as well on a work level. Yeah. So, in the financial world, do we see a change not only in the way people work, but what people do?
Absolutely, because the changes that are occurring with Pluto and Saturn now in Capricorn, they affect every facet of life. Children, Tom, and I mustn't carry on about this because it's one of my pet subjects, what children learn in school will change completely.
Right, okay.
Children will learn globally. They need to learn to read, write, and speak, obviously, but then they will learn the causes of things and the effect of those causes. Cause and effect should be taught in schools. And when young children are taught cause and effect, they can see the results of their actions on the planet.
Well, looking at the political situation at the moment across the globe, not in one particular place, I think I'd be like a lot of people will be turning around kind of going, I'm finding it difficult to see those sort of shoots arriving. I'm hoping they will do, I do believe in it. I'm much more of a Rudolf Steiner sort of schooling, but
Yes, people power will move into prominence, I think, far faster than governments realise, and governments will either have to shake themselves up, or it'll be people ruling, and
or just move aside.
Because the people will not stand for what they see as the elite ruling the people for their own good. Jupiter and Saturn are humanitarian planets and a humanitarian sign, and it's really positive, Tom, what will be happening. It'll be difficult for a while because we're birthing into we're birthing into the Aquarian age.
Yeah, nothing's easy at the very beginning, is it? You know what I mean? Because we're learning. So
but things are really changing. I get a blog from a chap called James Leterrier, who made his money by the time he was 50 and decided to do something for the planet. And he gets together every eco thing happening in the world. And you'd be surprised, Tom, how far advanced a lot of technology is.
Oh yeah, I think we're being a lot of technology is being suppressed, basically.
Yes, because technology is due to expand as well. Jupiter in Aquarius, a humanitarian, the health situation. And this is another thing. As I say, when you go to your doctor, you just stand behind a screen. The screen will light up and show you the blobs of where are the problems in the body. But you won't have a medicine, a chemical-based medicine to deal with it. He'll say, right, you need this colour healing, that sound healing, and you go and have a colour and sound healing. But there is so much resistance to that from the big drugs companies, Tom. That,
well, you can't sell light. That's the thing. They tried to tax it many years ago in the UK and in France and people ended up bricking up their windows and stuff like that, which you can still see in houses.
Yeah.
But so it looks like around about the 14th of January is the first sort of wave of Jupiter getting into getting a plan out there. Is that?
No, you'll see it in December first, because Jupiter and Saturn both move in the 0 degrees of Aquarius then, 18th and 20th.
So it starts around about then.
You'll see some stirrings, because Christmas, I think, will be very different for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Yeah. And then it's January. It is, you will on the 14th of January, and then the following month in February, about the 7th to 9th.
So if I've got it correctly, in the 14th, you'll start feeling it in your waters, as it were, in round about the 20th of December.
Yeah, and people are feeling it now, Tom. They really are.
I've been feeling it for years. But when we get to the 14th, that's when we're going to get the first wave. And then when the following month, Saturn's going to kick in and to say, we haven't gone far enough. You've got to go even further and push it, just to the end, by the sounds of it.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So that's really
it's fascinating. That is so fascinating. And it is positive, Tom, because it's bringing the human beings into the 21st century and into where they're meant to be.
Right.
Spiritually as well.
It sounds like our clock is ticking us into time, I think.
Yeah.
Was that your clock ringing then?
No, it is. Yes, it is actually. Yeah. Now, what synchronicity is that, Tom?
Exactly, bringing us fully into the new age of Aquarius. It's all very positive. So, but obviously, we need to go through,
birthing into it.
Exactly. Yeah, and people just need to stay true to themselves, and and be aware and flexible enough to move into a new way of thinking and a new way of being.
It is, but with everything being connected to everything else, humanity will find it difficult because every single thing will be changing. Education will change, farming will change, money will change, housing will change. I think it'll be against the law to throw away plastics within the next
year. I can imagine that. I would be surprised in the future that if it's not recyclable, if you can't, recycle it directly, then you're not allowed to use it. Do you know what I mean? I can see that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We should be starting with things like telephones and computers as well.
Yes.
Rather than having to buy the new version, it should be interchangeable and stuff like that. What I mean? I know it's a bit of an innovative idea, but
the photon that will come.
It's got to.
About throwing stuff away.
Yeah.
You can't sort of put it in a capsule and chuck it out to space.
Yeah. So just to sort of, we're gonna round this off now, but so just to sort of. So we've got the stirrings and the in the changes that are happening in they've already started happening, but we'll start really noticing that around about the 20th of December. The first real concrete wave coming through in the 14th of January, and then on the 20th, I think you said, of February.
7th to 9th of February.
7th to 9th of February, excuse me. 7th to 9th of February is the second wave of the changes that we're going to have to go through.
Because Saturn moving much more slowly, it will stay in aspect right until the end of February.
Right, okay. So February seems to be we've dug it over now, let's just rake it over.
Yes, absolutely.
Is there a point in the coming year that you can, and a vague idea where the waters should get a little bit more sort of stable and
Tom, I haven't actually looked that far ahead, but with Saturn there, things move quite slowly at times. So
okay.
although we're doing this now, it will take years to get it actually into
place, right?
into life. Yeah.
No.
I think it will. I think the next 20 years, this will be the start of it. But Tom, because there are changes in every facet of life, it's almost which do we go for first?
Right.
Do we go for the jobs? Do we go for the planet being trashed by humans? Do we go for governments being very self-centered and so on? So it's because it's every facet of life. It's so fascinating, Tom, and really people should be going into this brand new life and way of living.
As a Capricorn myself, I don't know if this applies directly, but I certainly feel a lot of the things you're talking about, and I can see those sort of things as well.
But then you're more sensitive, Tom, than lots of people. So, so you would, but all these planets passed over your sun some while ago, Tom. So you're out of it, but you are freed because you have integrated to the next level.
Right.
A lot of people haven't integrated to the next level.
Yeah, so that's what people need to do. And it's a real personal thing, isn't it? It's not like, it's not like following a slogan or a hashtag or a thing on Twitter. It's actually personally looking at yourself and looking at your, within yourself and realizing what your connection is with your nature and your community that is around you, and just be part of it and getting involved in very much on a very local level.
Oh, you couldn't put it better, Tom.
Yeah.
You've hit the nail on the head there. You really have.
So the internet will be an important thing, such as, to have that global communication in a way, but the majority of the work is going to be done on a local level.
Yes, but we also need to know what's happening globally.
Yeah, of course.
Because I also think that when you have Saturn and Jupiter square Uranus, as we're going to have January and February, they can also indicate what we so-called see as natural disasters.
Okay.
Big
natural disasters. Right. Okay. Well, maybe that might be a topic for
international, global.
Yeah. Well, anything. In my book, The Event, we go into that in a big way. So maybe we could set that for a topic.
And perhaps in January, that one, when we see how things are panning out.
Yeah. Exactly. We'll talk about that. Anyway, I think before I take 30 years to try and upload this video, before it gets too long, we'll tie it all up there. Thanks a lot again, Silver Phoenix. It's been absolutely brilliant speaking to you. I hope for everybody out there, it's been a really big heads up about what's coming up. You've heard it here. Get involved in your local community and embrace the possible changes within your local community and also within the financial system, and the way we deal with one another, So is there anything you wanted to sort of add to that, sort of, Silver?
Well, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Strangely enough, Aquarius is a humanitarian sign, but each individual has to make up their piece of the jigsaw. Because without the pieces all coming together, you don't have the pattern. Everything is patterns. Everything.
Vibrations.
Yes.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so thanks again to you, Silver Phoenix. We'll meet again some point next week, and we'll be taking on another topic and see what's coming down the line. If you've liked this video, please do share it. It is very important for the algorithms. It's one of the main ways in which these videos can be seen by other people and help other people, therefore helping yourselves. Do subscribe and click the bell because that will help you receive notification when we've got new videos up. And if you have any comments, if you've got any questions, which is also really important because it helps us to answer any sort of questions that you particularly want to hear, please put them in the comment section below, and we will address them in next week's show. So in the meantime, I'll speak to you again soon, Silver.
Thank you.
Take care.
And you.
Ciao for now. Don't believe, just know. Cymatic TV, turning vibration into reality.